You're watching NBC5 News First at 4.
Thanks for joining us for this NBC5 Conversations, a Call for Change. We've got a media company founder and president joining us today, Yaba Baker, to talk about some projects he's working on that we find very interesting. Yaba, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Let's start off first. Just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Yaba Baker. I create a media company called Just Like Me, Inc. For the sole purpose of providing books that are entertaining, highly entertaining first, but also provide tools for parents to have difficult conversations with their kids about self-esteem, friend selection, and things like that.
Yaba, what took you down this route to want to do this?
Well, I had my own struggles with mental health. I grew up in the 80s during the crack era. A lot of my friends, 9 of my friends were murdered before I was 21 years old, and didn't have a lot of resources, didn't really know where to go with that. And so I began to realize the difference between some of my friends who ended up dead and in prison and me going to college was self-worth. And so I wanted to provide products that were entertaining, but also gave parents the tools to instill self-worth into their children.
And did you have any kind of roadmap to follow with this? Was there anything else like this out there that, kind of gave you some direction?
Not at all. I started back in 1996 before self-publishing was a thing. I actually made my first book at Kinko's, if people remember Kinko's. Cutting up and using the paper, I forgot the paper's called, that covers the lines. You remember that tape? I can't even think of the tape. Eraser tape. So made a book at Kinko's and made my second book at Kinko's and then get to a printer into my third book.
Yeah, but why was this important for you to do this and start this?
It was important because I felt like there was a missing piece for our children, specifically in Black history. That's kind of where I started with teaching the missing pieces of Black history, going all the way back to 6,000 years ago in Africa, where we created mathematics and science and things like that. So I want to make sure our kids know our history, but I also want to have representation in the princess and superhero world. My kids grew up on animation and books, so I want to make sure we had some representation in that process, but also wanted to make it fun for the kids too as well.
And you are the founder and president of Just Like Me World Media Company. Tell us about this media company, what it is, and why you started this.
I started a company to create books, half-hour cartoons, and eventually animated movies to kind of fulfill that gap I was mentioning earlier about having entertainment that was pretty much for everybody. But you all know when Black Panther came out and Miles Morales came out with Spider-Man, it does something for kids when they can see themselves on screen and books. And so we want to make sure that we provided that for them. And I never really seen anybody filling that void the way I wanted to fill it, or I felt the void needed to be filled.
One way you're filling this is with a superhero called Super CJ. Tell us about CJ.
Super CJ is a 12-year-old boy and his dog. They're endowed with superpowers. Now, the caveat is Super CJ, when he gets angry, he loses his powers, and he must calm down to get them back. And his sidekick, Rex, that sidekick gives him advice, a dog giving him advice, and crack the jokes, and it's a comic relief involved there. So again, it's a combination of entertainment, but also some mental health tools involved in there and helping kids to calm down.
Let's break this down a little bit more about what this truly provides, because part of this, as you said, it is about representation. Why is that portion so important?
Well, growing up in the 80s and 90s, you didn't really have Black superheroes. And the one thing I think is missing about understanding about representation is if you're missing, then you feel like you don't exist. And so it's a weird thing to see people who don't like you going about doing different things. You don't see yourself on TV. And so it's important for me to provide that for kids because kids learn about colors like age 3 or 4. So they understand between brown skin and light skin and peach color skin. And if they don't see anybody that looks like them, it's not to build a kind of a hole in them, like maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I don't see myself here, so maybe I don't belong there. So I want to make sure we fill that void in the correct way and provide that for them so they can see themselves.
And the other portion of this that you have is like, other superheroes have their weaknesses, be it kryptonite or whatnot. For this one, you put controlling anger as the downfall. Why?
Well, one of the things I do in my products is try to provide a tool for parents as well as children when they read my books or watch our shows. Anger has been such a thing that's kind of getting out of control a little bit in our society. Kids lashing out. You see a lot of on the far end mass shootings. On the other end, on a closer end, you see suspensions and lashing out in classrooms. We want to help kids find a way to calm down because we, even as adults, we make our worst decisions when we're angry. So it's better to calm down, assess the situation, and then make a decision. So the idea of CJ is he's too powerful to make bad decisions when he's angry. The true power is in your mind, and your mind gets clouded in anger.
No, the books have been out for a while. Now you have the animated series. What's the latest with the animated series and the status of it?
We're really excited. We just released the first 2 episodes on Just Like Me TV on YouTube. So if you go to Just Like Me TV on YouTube, see episode 1 and 2, and episode 3 is coming out next Thursday on the 13th.
This has already been out there for a little bit. So what type of feedback are you getting from it? Are people using it as a tool to, teach kids about controlling anger and the representation aspect of this?
We're getting great feedback from adults and kids. So I'll tell you an adult story really quickly. A friend of mine who has been following Super CJ for a while got into a road rage event, and she said she thought about Super CJ and that she needed to calm down before she did something that could land her in jail. And we also had other parents who used it with their sons who read Super CJ or saw the show, and when they get angry, they remember you got to calm down. You got to use your power, which is your mind, in the situation, not your anger. And it's really helped parents have a reference point down the road with their children.
Man, we have so much road rage around here in North Texas. Maybe we need to make this part of driver's ed that everybody
Exactly.
calm down and bring that down. Yeah, but I just want to ask you, the feedback that you're getting and you're seeing how this is helping, what does this mean to you?
It's exciting. It's fulfilling. The one thing that I wanted to do was make sure that when I produce products or produce a show, that it can be an effect, not just for entertainment's sake, but long-lasting effects. And all the products we created have that in mind. And it's exciting to hear from parents. I get literally testimonials pretty much every day from a parent or a friend of mine or somebody who's seen the show and like, this is really good. This really helped my child understand about anger, or Princess Brianna, her books about self-esteem, or the Black History books are about teaching kids about the history. I didn't notice about my history. So it's really fulfilling to see those things transpire and hear that feedback.
All right, I don't want to give anything away, but I have watched the first 2 episodes, so it's very interesting to see what Super CJ is going to be able to do for the chaos that's happening at the end there. What's the future of Super CJ? What are you hoping for the future of Super CJ and all your work that you're doing?
Well, we're looking to do a 10-episode series on a Netflix or Apple TV at some point. But right now, we're producing it on YouTube. And the idea is to produce somewhere around 26 to 30 mini episodes. And we want to do a storytelling that's layered. And so we have the layer for kids, obviously. We want to have a layer for parents while they're watching. So there are a lot of jokes in there that parents get, the kids don't get. There's also storylines that are a little intricate in a way where you have surprises at the end, because the council who gives Super CJ his powers isn't telling CJ everything. And so you start to realize that maybe there's something else going on down the road. Is the council really there to help Super CJ? Are they an enemy? Those type of things will come out in the show. So it's going to be really exciting to follow. So that's where we're going with the show.
Okay, I agree with that. I was going to say, but he had questions. Super CJ had questions that the council didn't want to answer and said, all the answers will come down the line. So there's more to see what comes down the line.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I know you're doing this through Super CJ, and this is something that's close to you. Talked about the controlling the anger portions of it, but it goes deeper than just putting it into cartoons and stuff. You actually wrote a book dealing and talking about this exact thing, right?
Yeah, we believe in critical thinking and better decision making. So I created a program and a book, and we're actually going to re-release that probably at the end of the year, to help kids understand about taking time to really understand what you're learning, what you're being told, and verify information. You know, you're in the news, and right now the whole idea of fake news and this is being fake. I want people getting a habit, kids get a habit of doing your own research. Know what you're talking about. And so it's close to my heart. And I continue to put out material to kind of spark that kind of thought process, to make you question, make you think about things a little differently. And then we're also going to get into a lot of the mental health part of it with our program, Children's Mental Health 365, that's coming out in August. So.
All right. If people want to learn more about this, well, before I even go that route and let you give all your handles and information, anything else you want to tell us about? Anything I haven't asked you that you still have that you wanted to share with us?
I like to talk about the program, Children's Mental Health 365. That's a program we're going to be starting in August. The whole idea is to highlight things children are going through, anxiety, depression, suicide are really at all-time highs that in our society right now. And we want to make sure that through this program, we're going to invite mental health organizations, resources. So if you're watching this and you're a mental health, you're a therapist or you have an organization, please contact us. We want to make sure that we provide resources and just bring awareness to what our kids are going through on a daily basis. So we're very excited about that program. Super CJ and Rex will be the spokespersons for those this program. So we're excited about that.
Excellent. So now if people want to follow along, get more information, how do they go about doing that?
Two basic ways. You go to @JustLikeMeTV, which is our YouTube handle, to see the shows. We have all our promotional information as well as some tips on mental health and things like that. Or @JustLikeMeWorld, which is our handle for Instagram and Facebook, and JustLikeMeWorld.com if you want to get to some products. We have T-shirts and cups and all kinds of things. So.
All right, Yaba Baker, founder and president of Just Like Me World. Thank you so much for sharing with us about the work that you're doing. And of course, Super CJ, and people got to tune in to see what's going on with Super CJ.
Definitely. And trust me, we have surprises and shocking things are going to happen in this show. So you want to tune in.
All right, Yaba, thanks so much for taking time for us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.